welcome into the pregame lineup card, the final game of the three-game series between the Orioles and the Twins, and the last game before the All-Star break. This is Lexi Schweinert in for Chris Atterbury. The Orioles have won the first two games, Twins trying to avoid the sweep. They have not been swept going into the break since 2003. That is 20 years ago. Well, the Twins woke up this morning finding themselves at 500, 45-45 in second place, a half game behind Cleveland. Joe Ryan on the mound for the Twins today. He's given up a home run on the first pitch of his last two starts, looking for a clean outing today. This will be his third career start against Baltimore. He has yet to take a decision, but the Twins won both of those games. Twins #1 draft pick in 2009, Kyle Gibson, pitching for Baltimore. He's 8-6 on the season with a 4.73 ERA. He spent 7 seasons with the Twins. He's only faced his former team once. That was when he was with the Rangers in 2021. We'll have a special segment on him later on. Plus, Rocco Baldelli chats about the game, and Chris has a brand new Memories of Mike. Before we get to anything else, let's rewind and look at yesterday's game. Minnesota scored first on a wild pitch by former Twins farmhand Tyler Wells in the first, but things exploded for Sonny Gray in the second. The bases were loaded with no outs. He walked back-to-back batters for Baltimore to take the lead, and Frazier added on.
Frazier bloops it back of third. That's going to fall for a base hit, and 2 runs will score. Gallo will concede, flip it into third base. Adam Frazier with a soft 2-run single to left. It's a 4-1 Baltimore lead, and still nobody out in the second.
RBI singles from Henderson and Santander made it a 6-run second inning. Those would be the only 6 runs they got. Solano hit an RBI double in the 6th, but it would not be enough as the Twins lost game 2, 6-2. That's a look at our Twins Rewind. Now we're at the park courtesy of Treasure Island Resort and Casino with Corey Provis and Dan Gladden. Corey, the Twins obviously don't want to be swept going into the break. Just how important is this game today?
I think it's a big game today. I think, the Twins had a chance to sweep the Orioles at Camden Yards last weekend. That did not happen. Baltimore salvaged the finale. Twins look to answer that with a win here today. And Danny, Joe Ryan, yes, and Lexi had that good note, that odd note that the last time we've seen Ryan, his last 2 starts, first pitch, leadoff home run. Last 2 opponents, Atlanta, and of course we saw it with Kansas City last time out. But offensively today, it's got to be about these bats. The Twins have been very quiet at the plate so far in this series.
Well, they have, and that's kind of the frustrating part here. You've got getting opportunities. I go and look at that ball game yesterday. Sonny Gray, you got your ace out there on the mound. Just has one bad inning, and after that, it was lights out for Sonny Gray. So I think with Joe Ryan, similar is to he needs to stay away from that big inning. And the offense, no question about it. The offense has to get going here, and again, Kyle Gibson, I guess, a little personal trophy, I guess you might say. He has a chance, if he gets the win, to tie Jose Barrios with the most wins here at Target Field.
That would definitely be awesome for him. And, Danny, I know Kyle is one of your favorites. He's on the mound today. He has been touched up for 4 or more runs in his last 3 starts. So how should the Twins be attacking him today?
Well, I think they're going to have to be a little patient on him and see what he can do. He's throwing a lot of sinkers. He's getting hurt by that. He has given up 9 home runs, but 5 of those are solo home runs. So he is a guy that will throw the ball, will challenge you at times. I just think you got to be a little patient. Force him. He's throwing the sinker now again, and a changeup, which I guess has been getting hit a little bit. Gibby's always been a guy that's lived down in the bottom part of the strike zone. So I think with him, try to force him to get the ball up in the zone. His sinker then will straighten out a little bit.
And, Danny, it's not unusual for a sinker baller to have more problems in the first inning, right? Gibson has given up 11 earned runs in the first inning, and some believe with that sinker that it's not as sharp, right? Because your arm is almost too fresh, right, that first inning, that the deeper a starter goes, the better feel that he has for that pitch.
Yep, most hits he's given up in the first inning, 23. Second most runs at 11. Most walks, 8. Second most strikeouts in 15. So kind of a mixed bag for Kyle Gibson in that first inning.
Yeah, it could be an exciting first inning, especially with Joe Ryan watching for that first pitch of the game. Thank you, guys. Game 3 of the 3-game series, the last game before the All-Star break. We've been at the park courtesy of Treasure Island Resort and Casino, the exclusive casino sponsor of the Minnesota Twins. The island is your destination for all things fun. Visit TICasino.com to plan your visit. Well, Rocco Baldelli chatted with media before the game. He assesses the first half of the season so far.
I think we played pretty competitive baseball to this point. I think there's a lot of gains still to be made for our team. I think everyone here feels that way. I don't think anyone here is satisfied or happy or anything like that, but we've grinded through it. Our guys they've worked hard. They've given it everything they can physically. I think there's some adjustments that we can still certainly make, though, that can put us in an even better spot in the second half. There's a lot that we still want to accomplish that we have not accomplished yet.
That's manager Rocco Baldelli on the first half of the season. Again, the last game before the All-Star break. We're going to hear more from Rocco coming up after the break, including if he's concerned about Joe Ryan giving up home runs the past couple of games. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up right here on your home for Twins baseball. It's the pregame lineup card. I'm Lexi Schweinert in for Chris Atterbury. The Twins and Orioles Game 3 coming up. Before the game, Rocco Baldelli chatted with the media. Joe Ryan has not won a game since his complete game shutout against the Red Sox. In his last 2 starts, he's given up a homer on his first pitch of the game, but Rocco says he's not concerned.
I think a lot of that comes down to who we're facing, some tendencies of the hitters and what they're going to do. You know, there are still going to be games where we're going to throw a first pitch fastball in these games. There will be other games where we're going to lead them off with some off speed. I think that comes down to the comfort level of the pitcher and who we're facing. So I don't think that's going to be an issue every game. That's not something, knock on wood, that's not something that's going to continue, over and over again. But certainly hard not to notice it, when, a guy that gets a lot of swing and miss on his fastball, gets hit multiple starts in a row. It's not something I'm overly worried about, though, right now.
Facing off against Ryan is longtime Twin Kyle Gibson. Rocco managed him in his first season with the Twins. Here's Rocco's scouting report.
Gibby mixes up his pitches very well. He's going to do a lot of different things. So we expect him to go out there and throw, be a 1 or 2 pitch guy and just go at us. I don't think that's going to be what he's going to do. I think he's going to pitch on the outskirts of the zone. He's going to try to hit some spots. He's going to mix all of his pitches up, and he's got a lot of different pitches to choose from. I think we're going to have to stay pretty disciplined and make him come into the zone in order to get where we need to be today.
And a guy that Gibson will have to contend with today is Donovan Solano. He's swinging a hot bat. He had 3 doubles yesterday.
He's been really, really locked in for a while. He started the season out in very much a platoon type role, but he's been the guy that's probably given us our most consistent at-bats the entire season. He's done it against those left-handers, of course, but then you send him out here against a lot of right-handed starters, and he does a really nice job. He's a good hitter, so, with that comes he's got a good swing. He hits line drives all over the field, but he's got a good mindset. He knows how to approach an at-bat really well. There's not an infinite number of these guys floating around in the league, and he really sets himself apart with his ABs.
Solano is batting 5th today and playing 3rd. That's manager Rocco Baldelli. That conversation brought to you by UCare, People-powered health plans. Well, every Sunday home game, a special segment powered by People. It's our Family of the Game interview brought to you by Securian Financial. Today's family is from Puerto Rico and annually participates in the Twins Youth Baseball Clinics. 7-year-old Lucas had the opportunity to chat with another Puerto Rican on the Twins roster.
Hello, my name is Lucas and I'm from Puerto Rico and I'm interviewing Jorge Lopez. Hola, mi nombre es Luca y yo soy de Puerto Rico. What inspired you to play baseball?
Who inspired me to baseball player? It was my mom. She was the one who took me every day to the ballpark. Love baseball, and yeah, she is my mother.
Who was your favorite player growing up?
My favorite player to grow in, it was Roberto Clemente.
He's a legend.
He's a legend, you're right.
Do you play an instrument?
Yes, right now not, but I used to play guitar when I was a little kid. My grandfather taught me.
I play an electric guitar.
Electric?
Yep.
Love it.
Instead of MLB, what is your favorite hobby?
I would say my favorite hobby it will be playing with my kid, and I think that's the best gift I can get.
Do you have a sibling?
Siblings? Yeah, I have 3 sisters.
What are their names?
The oldest is Catherine. She's 35. The next one is 28, Janirelis. And 21 is called Alondra.
I have a sibling, and and she's my older sister, and her name is Leah.
Leah.
Hi. What is your favorite animal?
My favorite animal, I would say the lion.
Lion.
Yes.
What's your favorite cake flavor?
My favorite cake is chocolate.
My sister likes it too.
Chocolate?
Yeah.
Ice cream on the top?
Last but not least, what do you recommend to me to be an MLB player?
What I recommend you to be a MLB player is discipline, respect, educate yourself every day, and be better every day. Working hard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What a great interview by 7-year-old Lucas, and great to hear from Jorge Lopez. He seems like he is in great spirits. Family of the Game is brought to you by Securian Financial. They are located in the Twin Cities and offer insurance, investments, and retirement solutions. Their team is expanding. You can search for your next career and apply today at securian.com/careers. Well, earlier this week, the Twins honored and celebrated the life and work of longtime scout Mike Radcliffe. As part of that ceremony, Mike's family was in town, and after the break, Chris chats with the true love of Mike's life, that's Sherry. It's coming up next on your home for Twins baseball.
You're listening to the Treasure Island Baseball Network.
It's the pregame lineup card. This is Lexi Schweinert in for Chris Atterbury. The Twins are preparing for the series finale with Baltimore, and this series versus the Orioles is brought to you by Royal Credit Union, where you get more free, less fee, and great rates. Learn more at tcu.org. Well, every Sunday here on the pregame, we have been paying tribute to the life and legacy of Mike Radcliffe, the Twins' longtime scout and vice president of player personnel who passed away in February. The Twins held a nice ceremony for Mike at the beginning of this homestand. Here's Chris Atterbury.
Well, this past Monday, the Twins honored the legendary Mike Radcliffe at Target Field at a gathering of fellow scouts and family members, including a very special visitor to our studio.
Hi, my name is Sherry Radcliffe. I was married to Mike for 43 years, so be 44 this September would have been.
Mike and Sherry met in high school and were settling into a comfortable life as new parents when their future found a new path and baseball found one of its greatest scouts.
When we were first married, he had like what I call a normal job. Worked for a company, went into the office every day, came home, played softball every night. Aaron was young. Our daughter was young. He loved baseball, always loved baseball. We had good friends that we had known all of our lives. Went to school with Mike Hankins, who was a scout for a couple other teams, and then his dad, Jay Hankins, actually was the person that hired Mike to start working in baseball. And before Jay would hire Mike, Jay and Gay, his wife, made us go over to their house and sit down and talk to us and tell us what the life was going to be like. So how much he'd be gone, and would we be willing to, did we really want to do that, so.
And he was indeed gone a lot.
He always, sometimes I used to say, I talk to him more sometimes when he's on the road than when he's actually home, because he would make a point to call it. I would talk to him every night, so we would know what's going on. He'd call, check on the kids, see what was going on, what were they up to, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, he was really good about staying in touch and calling.
Now, when Mike was home, he usually didn't bring his work with him.
I don't know. I think, baseball's what he did. I mean, that was his job, and that's what he did. And but he's also, he's just a good guy, and very humble, and very good with, just our friends. He's always just would go along with the gang or do whatever. And, a lot of people knew he worked in baseball, but they really didn't know, what he really did. They knew he was a scout, and they had a general idea and things like that. But poker games with his poker buddies, and so just every now and then a gang of guys, high school guys, would get together, play poker.
He also had one chore that was always waiting.
He had one big job. He's not a fix-it guy, never. But he did change the light bulbs. That was his job. So he was on the road a lot, and it could get dark. It could get dark in our house, but so that was his job.
The massive impact that Mike had on so many people professionally still catches Sherry by surprise.
It has been sometimes overwhelming. I'm just shocked. I'll get a letter in the mail, a handwritten letter, which, people don't do that very often anymore. And I'll get a handwritten letter from someone. So
The letters, the tributes, the stories, the universal respect and admiration still make Sherry laugh.
sometimes I'm like, who is this guy? Who are they talking about? But, I think I've just known him for so long. I don't know. I knew he was a good guy. When we met, we were just really good friends at first when we, just kind of hung out, group of friends and stuff. And then before we started dating. So, but yeah, he was always a good guy, a good stand-up guy. And yeah.
Perfectly said. That's Sherry Radcliffe, and this has been a very special Memories with Mike.
A very, very special segment. Sherry, daughter Erin, son Brett, and Mike's brothers Dan, David, and Mitch are part of the Radcliffe family who were here for the tribute on Monday. There were also a ton of current and former Twin Scouts on hand who all had memories of Mike to share, which Chris will have for you on upcoming Sundays. Well, a guy Mike signed off on drafting with the Twins' top pick in 2009 was Kyle Gibson, and he is on the mound for Baltimore today. We catch up with him next, right here on your home for Twins baseball.
This is the Treasure Island Baseball Network.
It's the pregame lineup card. I'm Lexi Schweinert in for Chris Atterbury. We are just minutes away from first pitch of the Orioles-Twins Game 3. But first, let's check out our Select Heartland Chevy Dealers Twins storyline. Kyle Gibson, who's pitching for the Orioles today, was drafted by Minnesota in the first round, 22nd overall of the 2009 draft. He spent 9 years with the organization and 7 seasons with the Twins before signing a 3-year deal with the Rangers after the 2019 season. He was traded to the Phillies halfway through 2021, spent some time with them as they made a run to the World Series last fall. At the end of the year, he became a free agent again, and he noticed a difference in the process from 3 years earlier.
The one thing that was different this year in free agency was that teams talked a lot about being able to make 25 or 30 starts. And I've been really fortunate to stay healthy for most of my career. And that was something that showed up a lot in our talks with teams. And I think everybody knows that bullpens are really important, but I think they also are leaning more on, hey, we do need 6 to 7 starters in a year to get us through a season. And I think, this club in particular, with trading for McCann, signing Frazier, adding to Cedric and Santander, the veterans that are already here, I think they saw a benefit in that. And and then same thing, claiming Danny. I mean, he's been a staple down there for those young guys to lean on. So I think when you have the right young guys and then you bring in the right mix of veterans, I think you get really good chemistry like we have.
The Danny Kyle alluded to there was former Twin Danny Coulomb. Gibson said he was fortunate to be in discussions with multiple teams, but Baltimore stood out.
I don't know that there was one team that had the mix of defense, great young players, and heading in this type of direction that we're in. It was just the more I learned about the team, even after I signed, the more excited I got. They were the best team in the American League in the second half after the All-Star break last year. Everybody knew about their young prospects and their young pitchers. And it just felt like a great time to join this team. And I've always loved Camden, so it was kind of a win-win. I had a lot of really good conversations with the pitching people, and then I already knew about Camden and Baltimore and how much I loved it. So getting the chance to come and play here for 80 games was a big part of it.
Yeah, before becoming an Oriole, he was 3-1 in his career at Camden Yards. Kyle likes to joke about being one of the older guys on such a young team. He said he's 2 years older than anyone else, and before they claimed Coulomb, he was the only guy born in the 80s.
Definitely makes you feel old when you got guys, Mike Baumann, for instance, is from Minnesota. And, he told me one of the first couple of days that, I was a guy that he watched in high school and in middle school pitching. It's like, I'm that old already, my word. But it's cool.
And since the start of the season, the Orioles have picked up another guy born in the 80s. That's former Twins teammate Aaron Hicks. He joined Baltimore in June. He spent more than 7 seasons with the Yankees before being designated for assignment in May. Gibson said it's great to see him in such a good place.
You could tell that the first day he was in the lineup here and the fans were excited to have him, how much of a breath of fresh air that was for him. I remember how free he could play in Minnesota because the fans were behind him the whole time. I remember how, just myself, like sometimes when you get a fresh start, how liberating that can be to just get to a new place and have a new start. And he's ran with it. He's played really well. He's healthy, and he fits in well.
Gibson and Hicks spent 3 seasons together here with the Twins. Kyle looking for a win today at Target Field. He has 32 wins. Jose Barrios has 33 wins. That's the most of any pitcher. That's our Select Heartland Chevy Dealers Twins storyline. Log on to ChevyDealOnline.com to find a dealer near you. And that does it for our pregame lineup card. Coming up after the break, Corey and Danny are going to have the anthem, lineups, and first pitch. That's right here on your home for Twins baseball.